You sometimes meet people who prefer, rather than label atheist, prefer the label agnostic, and that they'll tell you they just aren't sure if there's a God. Or I've heard agnostics say things like the idea that when we die, we just rot and become worm food, that one day the human race will become extinct, that one day everything ends in the fire at the end of the universe. That's so despairing and unlivable. I kind of just wish there was something bigger. But they can't equally hop into full-blown Christian faith. And they kind of park themselves in the middle and use the label agnostic. Now, I want to say a couple of things about that. Maybe you are an agnostic. You'd use that term watching this today. First thing I want to talk about is that desire that I hear many agnostics talk about for something more than just this life, something bigger than them. And that's a pretty universal human desire. Actually, most human beings today, and in fact throughout history, haven't been able to live as if the only purpose of life is to reproduce, pass on your DNA to the next generation, and then keel over and die. It seems to be that all of us need something bigger than ourselves to live for. And I find that fascinating, because here's the problem for our atheist friends. If evolution is the only game in town, to quote Professor Richard Dawkins, if the only reason that you and I are here is to pass on our selfish genes to the next generation, then that raises the question, why is it that we have this desire for something bigger? You see, we're the only animals in the animal kingdom who do this. Squirrels don't sit around wondering about the great existential uncertainties that come when they fall out of the tree and die. Human beings do. Why is it, if evolution is the ultimate reality, have we got these desires in the first place? In fact, the Oxford philosopher C.S. Lewis formulated this into something he called the argument from desire. He said it's interesting, when you look inside every creature, every species actually, we find these deep desires within them, these innate desires, and they always map onto reality. So a duckling desires to swim, well, there is water. Animals desire to eat, well, there's food. Human beings desire sexual intimacy, well, there is such a thing as sex. What about this desire we have for something bigger than ourselves, for something spiritual, for God even? The only logical explanation for this innate desire is that there really is something out there designed to fulfill it and meet it and connect with it. And Lewis here actually is picking up on a biblical theme, because the Bible teaches us time and time again that God has placed this desire for him into every human being. But we suppress it and we distract ourselves with the toys and noise of society and the busy age in which we live that forces us to try and avoid asking those questions as where these desires come from. But they bubble up. They bubble up in art and in media and in music and all over the place. The question then becomes, what are you going to do with them? Which brings me back to agnosticism. You see, in some senses, being an agnostic is a little bit like sitting on the fence. It's not willing to sort of abandon everything and leap into atheism, but nor is it willing to bow the knee and follow Jesus Christ. And what I would say to my agnostic friends watching this, it's okay to take a time to figure things out, to investigate, to try and work out if Jesus really is who he claimed to be. But then ultimately, there comes that point where you need to make a decision. Because the question that Jesus loved to ask people was this: who do you say that I am? Now, there are various answers to that question. You can write him off as a lunatic, you can write him off as a liar, or you can call him Lord and Christ. But refusing to answer the question is still to answer the question. But one thing that will help you if you're an agnostic watching this, final thought, have you ever tried the agnostic's prayer? It goes like this. When you finish watching this video, go into a quiet corner into your room somewhere and just pray this prayer. Pray, Lord, I don't actually know if you exist. I hope you do. I think you might, but I haven't got it figured out. But Lord, I really want to know. Jesus, if you're who you claim to be, please, would you help me discover what that means? Would you reveal yourself to me and bring me to that point where I can put my trust in you? I have many friends who have prayed a prayer like that honestly and have been very, very surprised by the answer.